What up, everybody? Zach Attacks Fat here. I know things look a little bit different. I'm streaming on Twitch. Everybody's here hanging out. So if you're not here, what are you doing? Click the link, follow me on Twitch, catch the streams. We have a great time. Everybody's cool. We're chilling. So today I actually found this video about this woman who's sharing her experience with getting a gastric bypass surgery and whether she regrets it or not. So I figured there's a lot of good info in here. It's kind of a cool video, at least according to Jordan, who pre-watched it for me. So thanks, babe. And yeah, let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Carolin RNY and I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Today I'm going to talk about life after gastric bypass surgery, any regrets, grief, my relationship with food, and my binge eating disorder. If you're interested, please stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, my name's Carolin. Welcome. I had gastric bypass surgery.
She's so soft-spoken. I know. She seems like she's sweet.
16th,
she seems like a nice person.
And I've lost over 100 pounds. And feel free to check out some of my other videos. I have a whole video dedicated to losing 100 pounds.
So real quick, this is like a video she's made. She got her surgery about 4 months ago prior to this video. This video is only 3 weeks old. So she got her surgery about 5-ish months ago. And she's lost 100 pounds so far, which is absolutely incredible. And awesome. Like, honestly, like that's typically how quickly weight loss does go when you do get something like a gastric bypass, especially. So it is a little bit crazy and fast, but it is fast because of the type of surgery she had. Whereas if you're just doing diet and exercise, don't expect to lose that much. And it's not actually the most healthy to lose that much, which we'll get into.
And I have a couple of what I eat in a day, so definitely check those out. Today I want to talk about any regrets I may have or how I'm feeling being 4 months out and what this whole experience has been like for me, and if I have any regrets, and if you're planning on having any kind of bariatric surgery, maybe there are some things that could help you in this video. Now, just to get right off the bat, I don't have any regrets about having this surgery. Absolutely none. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not incredibly grateful and proud that I had this surgery, because it has changed my life in a way that I never thought was going to be possible. And I talk about that a lot in all my videos and a lot on my Instagram. So check out my Instagram if you don't already follow.
Insta.
So no regrets, but there are some things that were not quite as expected, or things that I weren't quite as prepared for that I should have been. I think the number one thing that I'm dealing with right now, being 4 months post-op, is hair loss. I'm losing so much hair. Like, it's running through my hair. Like, this is insane. It comes out a lot more in the shower, and I've never experienced this before. I have hypothyroidism, so I already have experienced like thinning hair, but it's never come out in like chunks like that. And it makes it a pain to brush my hair, even just laying down or sleeping. Like, I always wake up and there's just hair everywhere, and I feel like I vacuum all the freaking time now. I knew this was a possibility, and I felt like I was prepared for it, but literally came out of nowhere. Like a week before I hit my 4 month post-op, my hair just started coming out. I still have a lot of hair. I have pretty thick hair. I'm blessed with that, so it's not as noticeable.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say that she's so lucky that she has such thick hair, because like, with how much came out when she just ran her fingers through it, I was like, oh no. Like, she's losing a lot of hair. And honestly, that's like not super uncommon. Even with people who just lose weight, not with any sort of stomach surgery, some people that are just losing weight through diet and exercise alone, if you're losing weight too quickly, and if you're not staying on top of, you know, your micronutrients, it can happen, and it does happen for a lot of people.
to other people, but I notice it. And you'll notice it too. And this is very, very common. I would say majority of people who have bariatric surgery experience some kind of hair loss, and it doesn't last forever. My hair will grow back. How long? That's still waiting to be seen.
I know that Jordan said that she had lost a lot of hair. Did you find that it came back, and did it come back quickly, or did it take a while for it to kind of like come back? Twilight Witchery also said, yeah, I lost a ton of hair, still working on hopefully growing it back. So have you noticed any changes? Like, is it coming back? Like, can you notice like your baby hairs and stuff? Are you taking any supplements to like help with it? Because that's what I wonder. I wonder if, because I didn't really have any hair loss with any of my weight loss. I mean, I had like the natural, like I'm getting older, my hairline receded a little bit, but I don't really, I don't think that was from my weight loss. I think that's just because I'm getting old and I'm a dude. But yeah. Okay, so Jordan said it came back within a year and it came back thicker. Hey, I think that's something important to note is maybe it's probably had a lot to do with how you're actually healthier with your diet and everything. So yeah.
I'm hoping it stops falling out like this around 6 months post-op, but I don't know. I'll definitely keep you updated, and if you have any more questions related to hair loss, leave them down below. One of the things that people always talked about after having gastric bypass surgery was gassiness and burping. And actually, when I told my dad that I was going to have this surgery, he was concerned that I would be gassy a lot and have that feeling. Yes, that is a side effect of having gastric bypass surgery. You can be a little more gassy, a little more burpy, and also constipation is something that you have to worry about too, because it's harder for us to get in water and harder for us to get in fiber. So I actually experienced my first pretty big bout of constipation this past week. I do take a stool softener every 2 days to help keep things moving, keep things regular, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely recommend that. Obviously, check with your surgeon to make sure what you're taking is approved by them. I don't experience...
I love that she said, check with your surgeon. Honestly, like, with any sort of type of procedure you get, you gotta check with your surgeon before you do anything. Like, that's always my biggest advice. The constipation is real, though. I legit have Miralax prescription. Yeah, so I actually didn't really know this one that much. For those of you who don't know, I had to take a class through my insurance because I was actually going to get the same procedure she got done. I was gonna get a gastric bypass. I went through all of the hoops. Went through all the steps. I got approved, and it got to the point to where it was like time to pick a date and like do that. And I was 19 years old at the time. And honestly, a lot of the things she's explaining right now were the reasons I chose not to do it. I felt like, do I really want to kind of trade one set of side effects for another? Do I want to have to like trade one set of limitations for another set of limitations? Not saying that it's a bad thing to get these surgeries. I'm just trying to be very realistic about the fact that it's not only a good thing. It's not, like a lot of other procedures where it's kind of like a one and done thing. Like, you still have to work hard, and that's very important to remember.
It's more gas than before surgery, so lucky with that, I guess. I do burp more than I did, and it really is only if I drink too fast or eat a little too fast. So it's really important to take your time, sip your fluids, and really take your time and eat your food. My surgeon recommends eating your meal over a span of 20 to 25 minutes. So I usually set a stopwatch or a timer for myself just to keep in check with that recommendation.
And that's very consistent with what they told me as well when I was going through the classes is you have to slow down your eating significantly. Like, you're supposed to eat one meal over 30 minutes. And here's the thing about eating one meal over the span of 30 minutes. You think, that's not that bad when you're eating a full meal, right? Like when your stomach is literally like smaller than your fist and you have to eat this of a meal over 30 minutes, it's like taking like little tiny teeny bites. It, it's crazy. You missed it on screen, but Blicka Blicka actually said she's 1 year post-op this last Friday and down 125 pounds. So congratulations, you're doing great. It's so happy to hear about that. I love hearing success stories from everybody, but especially people that get surgery because I know it's like a big deal, and if it doesn't go well, it can be very discouraging for a lot of people. So great job.
Recommendation. But the burping doesn't really bother me. I can keep it pretty discreet. It's not like these giant burps. It's very ladylike almost. I don't know.
Ladylike burps, I love
but
it.
But they're not bad, and it's very manageable.
This girl seems so sweet.
I don't have any heartburn. I know that with the gastric bypass, it's very common for people to heal their heartburn, and I know that it's more common with the gastric sleeve that people end up with GERD or really bad heartburn. So yeah, that's also why I went with the gastric bypass, because I did not want heartburn. So just to sum up, I don't have any regrets. Of course, there are side effects with any surgery, and the surgery has them, but the benefits and the incredible things that I've gotten out of this surgery and through these 4 months have been far more impactful and far more amazing than any of these negative side effects. I want to talk about my relationship with food, my past eating, my binge eating disorder, and grief, and how all of those things tie in together in a nice little package.
Okay, so real quick before we get into this kind of like next phase of her video, I do want to talk about how she says she has no regrets and how this surgery has literally like changed her life. Like, this is like, I will never ever discourage people from getting a weight loss surgery unless I really honestly felt like we wouldn't work well for them. I think it's a very personal choice, and I know that feeling of when you finally get control of your weight and you feel like, hey, what I'm doing is working. I'm actually going to be able to do this time. There is no better feeling in the world. And the fact that this surgery can get people there, I think is huge. Now, one thing to remember about the surgery is it does increase your odds of being successful with weight loss, but the odds are still against you. Even with the surgery, the odds still aren't the best. So that's one thing to remember. It's like, no matter what, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a balance, and I am going to have to be vigilant of this for the rest of my life. And if you aren't, especially with people that get weight loss surgeries because they're almost forced into these like habits that are making them lose weight, if you really don't address your demons and kind of deal with that inner stuff of why you were overeating and why you were coping with food in the first place, you will reverse your surgery. And not only that, but you will have lasting side effects from the surgery that now you have to deal with alongside your obesity. So very important to remember that. I see everybody talking about heartburn. I think she said curing the heartburn was a side effect of getting a gastric bypass. Not like she got heartburn. But yeah, you can get GERD following gastric sleeves. Okay, that's crazy. I think gastric bypass is a bit better for that because they actually bypass the stomach. So like the stomach is still producing the same amount of liquids and stuff, but then it comes down and it taps in somewhere like in the small intestine actually. I had severe GERD before my bypass, and the bypass fixed the GERD. Yeah, exactly. And is it because, am I right on that? Like, is that what your doctor said? I don't want to be giving out false information here. But like, it's because with the gastric bypass, they cut off your stomach, but they don't take it out. It's still producing bile and everything. And so I could kind of see how like maybe it not being part of the main stomach anymore and it bypassing those fluids down straight to your intestine could make a big difference. But yeah, let's get back into it.
I started dieting at 10 years old and I'm 25 now. And so I really spent 15 years trying all kinds of different diets, binging and restricting. And I binged all the time. And based on the diagnostic factors of what binging is, what binge eating disorder is, I had it. Does it magically go away after surgery? Kind of. Physically, you can't binge anymore after having this surgery. After time, as you get further and further out and your stomach stretches because it's a muscle, and if you abuse that muscle, yes, it'll stretch out and you'll be able to binge again. So these past 4 months, I've really been working hard on healing my relationship with food and introducing intuitive eating into my life.
So this is awesome. Just for the simple fact that she's basically talking about what I was talking about before, where you have to address these underlying issues still, no matter what. The surgery will not address these underlying issues for you. Like she said in the beginning, you physically cannot binge anymore. And that's the thing. It will force you into not binging because you physically can't. But it won't force you to not have the urge to binge. It won't force you to not have the thought processes to binge. It won't force you into that. You have to address the underlying reasons as to why, no matter what. There's no surgery that can fix the mental game of weight loss. That's all on you.
And making sure that I stop when I'm full and I eat if I'm hungry. Luckily, with this surgery, those things come easy to me now. Before surgery, I was always hungry, and it took 2,000-3,000 calories of food, sometimes per meal, to get me to that sickly full feeling. And so to now get full on a tiny little plate of food, it can feel very restrictive, but honestly, it feels the most free I've ever felt in regards to food. Do I miss binging? Honestly, sometimes. I struggled with this a lot in the first 4 weeks after surgery, where I was only drinking protein shakes and eating very tiny, bland food. And at that point, I found myself grieving for my binge eating disorder and really missing it and wishing that I had it to lean on in that really difficult time.
So this is something that I actually haven't talked about much, but I talk about with my clients a lot. There is this weird cycle that is super depressing that you can get into around food. It happened to me even just without a surgery, right? To where in your mind, it is, I want this, but if I eat that, I will hate myself for eating that. But if I don't eat that, I'm going to be sad because I feel deprived. And like she says, you're almost grieving for the fact that you don't have that in your life anymore. And you're stuck because no matter what now, it feels bad. There's nothing you can do now to where you get to feel good about what you're eating. You might be able to make a decision to where you get to feel good about what you're eating in the future when you look back on your day. But in that moment, it doesn't feel good. It feels like crap. It's a weird mental game, and it's very hard to get over. You almost kind of just have to grieve for that part of yourself, and almost realize that that's just not the path that your life is on anymore. That was one of the hardest parts for me, learning to differentiate between the psychological hunger from the physical. Yes. I cannot reiterate that enough. It is so hard to be mindful enough to know when you just want to eat versus when you need to eat. And because post-op, I have no physical hunger or thirst cues. Wow. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I could totally see how that would make it even more of a mind game that you kind of have to stay on top of it and kind of be like, well, wait, am I eating just to eat right now, or am I eating because I'm actually hungry? Like, yeah, it's a hard thing to learn, but it is a necessary skill to learn, I think, for most people if they want to have lasting success with weight loss.
I physically couldn't. And what a blessing, because binge eating shouldn't be my crux. It shouldn't be something I use to cope with emotions. It shouldn't be something I use to mask any of the pain that I'm feeling. And so confronting that was really, really hard. And I straight up cried. Like, cried.
So I'm gonna be vulnerable with you guys right now. I have legitimately cried. Oh, like I said, that loop that I would get stuck in, it would make me cry sometimes. Like, it's not fun.
Hard tears because I missed my binge eating so much. Now that I'm 4 months out, it's less so. Do I find myself missing it and wishing I was able to eat more food than I can eat? Yeah. But that feeling doesn't last for long because I remember how I felt when I binged and how I felt after I binged, and it never helped me. In fact, all it did was hurt me and dig me farther into the hole that I was already in.
This is so huge. And this is what mindfulness is literally all about. It's about being able to tell yourself, wait a second, I know where this path leads, and it leads nowhere good. It's not going to help me at all. So there's no point in doing it. It's so hard to have that sort of mindfulness in the moment, but that's what it's all about.
I feel like if you have this surgery and you've struggled with binge eating before surgery, feel prepared for this grief because I think it'll happen.
I think even if you didn't struggle with binge eating, if you use food to cope, you will have to grieve over the fact that you don't have that coping mechanism anymore. You'll either turn to it to cope with the feeling of not having it anymore, or you won't have it, and then you'll have to sit with the feeling of not having it anymore. But like she said, it's something that everybody, whether you're getting a surgery or not, prepare for that for sure.
It happened for me, and I'm sure it's happened for other people. And it took me by surprise because no one warned me. No one said anything that I would grieve and feel sad and miss and want this disorder, this mental illness that had taken over my life for so many years. I wanted it back. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think it's not so much that you want the disorder back, right? You don't want the negative feelings back, but you want that dopamine hit that your brain gets when you eat your favorite thing. That's what you want back. It's not the obesity. It's not all the negative things that you want back. It's not the binge eating disorder, the anxiety around food and all that. Of course you don't want that back, but the food makes you feel good. And it's okay to miss that. And it's normal to miss that and to feel sad that you don't get to have that reward in your brain anymore.
I don't want it back. I want it gone forever. So I'm working on that. 4 months post-op, I haven't binged. I feel like I can't because my stomach is still very, very small, and I hope I never do. And so I'm working on intuitive eating and listening to the cues of my body that I now get to listen to because my stomach is smaller. It's not as abused and stretched out as it had been before after 15 years of binging and restricting. I really, really, really highly recommend the book Intuitive Eating. Can't think of the authors right now, but it's a very, very well-known book, and if you have a chance to read it, please do because it's so helpful. And it's not like I'm going to magically overnight be better in my relationship with food. Like I said, I still have moments where I miss binging, where I miss the feeling of shoving a bunch of food in my face because I'm sad or bored. A great example is this week, the past couple days, I've been PMSing something fierce, okay? And
I'm so glad I'm not a woman for that reason.
Brings my emotions right.
I work with mostly female clients, and some people just have cycles from hell that will just sabotage you in every single way it possibly can. You won't get sleep. You'll feel like crap. You'll gain weight. You'll be bloated. You'll be hungry. Like it is so hard. I try to sympathize, but man, it is, I could not even imagine. So quick tip, if you're on your cycle, don't weigh yourself. Just try to be as good as you can with your eating habits and weather the storm.
Right up to the surface, like right under my skin, I feel it, I'm bubbling, I'm always so close to crying. So I cry and I sit on the floor or in my bed and I just sit there and cry and I feel everything that I'm feeling, the frustration, the anger, the sadness, whatever. And I just sit there and I feel it because my reality is I can't turn to food anymore. I've put so much work into where I am and I refuse to go back. So it's painful.
Yep.
It sucks having to sit there and cry and feel angry and upset at yourself and at the world. But after I cry and I wipe my tears and I've had all I need to have, I feel good. I've let it out. I've felt it and I haven't masked it with food. And that is one of the best feelings in the world. And if you can get to that point, man, I'm telling you, it's so freaking worth it. So, no regrets. Working on bettering my relationship with food is a journey that I will be on probably for the rest of my life. And that's just the truth.
Yep.
All right, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any
sure
questions
did.
for me, please leave them down below. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right. So, first off, she was great, wasn't she? Like, honestly, seems like such a nice person. I'll link her down, all of her information down in the description. Go check her out. Go subscribe to her channel. I think that she's very honest with stuff. So far, she has a great mindset around what it actually takes to lose this weight and what the work she's going to need to do now that she's had the surgery. She doesn't view this as, all right, I had the surgery, now I'm done. She's like, all right, I had the surgery, now I get to start. And that is very, very, very important. And I think that it's going to take her a long, long way. One other thing I wanted to touch on while we're talking about regrets with stomach surgeries is something called dumping syndrome. Luckily, she doesn't experience it, but it's something I learned about. It was something that was a huge deterrent for myself from getting the surgery. It basically is this syndrome where your body cannot tolerate sugar anymore. And so any sort of sugar, like high sugary things, get into your body and it will make you sweat, it will make you vomit, and it will make you have diarrhea. So it sounds, honestly, like one of the worst things ever. And in my brain, I remember this was the straw that broke the camel's back to me because I was like, Zach, are you trading one set of restrictions for another? I was 19 years old at the time too, so I was way younger. And I was like, do you want to get this surgery to where this might alter, the way you have to eat and like what you can eat for the rest of your life? I'm like, do you want it to be to where you can never have a piece of cake on your birthday ever again? Or do you want to be able to have a piece of cake on your birthday and not have to worry about soiling yourself? Like I was like, oh no, don't want that. Don't want to do that. But the more important thing is that throughout that time where I was learning all this stuff about this surgery, I was learning also how to properly eat, how to log my food, how to exercise. And by learning those things, I lost 50 pounds throughout that class. And that, alongside of all the other side effects, is what gave me the confidence that, you know what, maybe I don't want this surgery and maybe I can do it on my own. I always tried in the wrong ways before, but now that I'm trying in these right ways, it's working. I'm going to give it a shot. And I am so glad that I did not get the surgery because I don't have any of the side effects from it. I'm able to eat enough to maintain my physique and gain muscle mass where I feel like it'd be harder for me to get in enough protein to be jacked as hell. If I had a stomach surgery. So that's it. Like always, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Go over, show her some love. She did a great video. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.